I finally got into Motus. I had two errors that I kept hitting. One of them was just one time. It showed up and it wouldn't let me. It just said there's no USDOT number to link. And then the next day I ended up trying it and it let me through that part. But then it came up to when I was trying to link it, it would say enter your verification code, and it never sent me a verification code. And so I kept having that same problem. Like, it would identify my USDOT associated with my FMCSA portal, my carrier, my login.gov. So it knew who I was, but it just wouldn't send me that verification thing to confirm it. But then just, 3 or 4 days later, FMCSA just sent me an email and said, shit's all fucked up. Try again now, it should work. I didn't change anything I did. I just did the normal steps, and it let me, it sent me a code, so I was able to link it. My first impression when I got through and looked at the dashboard, how it's laid out, I thought, this looks really simplified. It looks like everything's going to be easier to access. But once I started clicking into things, I realized that this isn't a consolidation of the portal at all. It doesn't seem like. I could have been mistaken, but I was under the impression this was supposed to be like a fraud prevention move, and also like a simplify everything, kind of bring everything under one roof for carriers, so things are just easier and take less time. But my first impressions, I haven't done anything on Motus other than just kind of look at the pages. It looks like it's just replacing the registration system. And the MCS 150 biennials, I think those look like they're gonna live under Motus instead of the FMCSA portal. But the data queue stuff, SMS, CSA points, safety scores, accident records, inspection records, any of those detailed reports you need to pull, that doesn't appear to be under Motus. It seems like all that stuff is still living at the old portal. Obviously none of the state level, like IRP, IFTA, none of that stuff, which I didn't expect, but the UCR seemed like that's one thing that could have been moved to Motus, and maybe I just missed it and it's not there. I don't even know that UCR, that seems like a scam. I don't even know why we have a UCR. It seems like it's just extra money the government takes, and it's like a slush fund for them to spend however they want to. But I don't know, I could be wrong. But the UCR seems like one thing that could be, because it's federal that trickles down to states, kind of, is my understanding, and so it could be under Motus. But the UCR is the easiest thing. You just go into the page and, they could at least, I guess, provide a quick link or something, just so you can easily get to all the different stuff you've got to do throughout the year. We didn't get rid of MC numbers. I've still got an MC number. It's my understanding that new carriers are also getting MC numbers. That was one of the, I started hearing about this Motus when I first got my authority last summer, the summer of 2025. And the reports then where everything was going to happen in the fall of 25. And they said that's when they were going to get rid of the MC number. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to get an MC number, and then we're going to stop using MC numbers right after I get my MC number. But I guess they didn't do that for one reason or another. I don't know. What do y'all think? Are y'all have the same takeaway as
then at the next one, turn right,
as I do, or do you feel like it will be more helpful, easier to use? is, I mean, it is a cleaner website overall.
At the light, turn right onto State Highway 485.
I mean, I didn't go through like a registration process because I'm already registered, but it did seem like a pretty simple, more user-friendly layout than the original or the older unified registration system. But like, surely this isn't the return on investment. Like, I would imagine the FMCSA spent a small fortune on this. Hopefully it wasn't just to like polish up and create a newer, modern version of the
1 mile, turn right onto
URS.
North Main Street.
I may look into it a little more once I get stopped. I'm going to pick up a load of trailers. One of the subscribers asked, he said he wanted to hear my thoughts on the broker liability stuff from the Supreme Court recently. I feel like a lot of trucking channels have already gone over that. I haven't watched any of them. I have no idea what the trucking community thinks overall. Just briefly looking at the ruling and the case, my thoughts are it's gonna benefit big carriers. It's gonna benefit people that have a long track record of an authority.
Right.
It's probably going to make everything cost a little more. There's going to be more like verification paperwork, more like if you don't have a clean record or if you don't have all your ducks in a row, like as a new carrier, I mean, there's a lot of times, you know, you're trying to play like little Jedi mind tricks on the broker to get them to allow you to haul their load, even though their rules for their brokerage say they're not supposed to. But I feel like with this liability and the Supreme Court decision, I don't know what's been said about it, but it does not appear, they didn't say like C.H. Robinson was liable. They just said like their brokers don't have this blanket, you know, protection. The states are able to find them liable if they do a bad job like vetting a carrier. I don't know, does this cause a lot of brokers to just say no, nobody less than 6 months, nobody less than a year? The ones that are currently requiring 12 months, does that push them back to 24 months? It seems like it's going to have some negative consequences. It's definitely, I feel like, going to hurt the pathway for leased on owner ops to go out and get their authority, just because that fresh DOT, fresh MC number is probably going to be viewed as a risk that brokers aren't willing to take. And it will possibly cause the insurance, you know, from the broker side, you know, their insurance might get more expensive. They'll probably be looking at buying additional policies or just creating, you know, creative policies that kind of help cover this potential liability in the future. I mean, it might not change anything immediately, but I think the first time a broker's involved in one of these cases, like what happens right away from this is they're all going to have to lawyer up for just, you know, knocking down cases that try to include them and try to find them liable, and then they'll have to, you know, just at least put up an initial defense. But if they get drug into, you know, deeper into it and they do have to go to court, then they're found liable, and they lose like a huge dollar amount, then I think we're going to see all the brokerages, like, they're just going to go into a defensive mode. And I think that's really going to hurt smaller carriers, newer carriers, and what it should hurt the carriers with a bad, not a bad reputation, but a bad like safety score, or carriers that are known to have bad practices. I think that's kind of what everybody wants, but it's certainly got the potential to have a negative effect on, you know, a lot of trucking companies. That's kind of my thoughts on the whole situation. Kind of going to be a wait and see, but there's been public statements from plenty of the brokers that are already saying we're just, you know, there's going to be additional hurdles to get over. taking a more defensive stance, which is natural. I mean, that's kind of what you'd expect from them when you find out you've got a massive potential lawsuit on your hands from from the broker's point of view. I read a couple of their arguments on the case that they don't, they're not responsible for the hiring, the training, etc. That the carriers are, and that's been the reason in the past that the carriers have been forced to have these big, $1 million liability policies, and they're right on those points. But the Supreme Court ruling wasn't like a split decision or close. It was like 9-0, and I think a couple of them. I think Kavanaugh and one more of them did voice an alternative or an opinion from the other side, from the broker's standpoint. But I don't know. I think it'll be a wait and see kind of thing. It's kind of interesting. Y'all think it's overall good, the broker liability stuff, and potentially some unintended consequences that are negative for carriers? Or do you think it's mostly going to end up being negative for the industry as a whole, just create more paperwork and hurt smaller carriers and newer carriers and help this definitely, there's no question this is going to benefit established mega carriers. I mean, that's, in my mind, that's not even up for debate. It's absolutely going to help mega carriers. And if it helps the mega carriers, well, how does it help them? It's the reason it's helping them is because it's eliminating capacity competition from smaller independent carriers that have, less of a track record. So they're going to end up getting their choice of that freight that gets displaced from the smaller carriers. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of truck drivers are kind of rooting for this, but it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows for truck drivers, that's for sure. But anyways, thanks for watching. Leave your comments, disagreements, agreements in the comment section below. I will catch up with y'all next time. Y'all take care and stay safe.